In this video, we'll talk about the basal nuclei. Now, this is just a quick introduction. Please make reference to your book, read the book over this subject. The basal nuclei are very important, but they're also quite complicated. So we're just going to have a very brief look at them at this point. Certainly higher level courses in neuroanatomy, and neurosciences would spend much more time on the interconnections. There's a number of nuclei within here that communicate with each other, but let's at least get some of the basic names and functions. So the basal nuclei, they're really located deep within each of the cerebral hemispheres. And remember, when I use the word nuclei, we're looking at a cluster of neuronal cell bodies. Now, what are they involved with? They're involved with movement. If I want to just sort of put one word to it, it's movement. And there are three parts. There is the caudate nuclei, the putamen, and the globus pallidus. These are three separate anatomical structures located near each other that interact with each other. Now, there's also an area called the internal capsule, which is basically a region of white matter that is associated with them, that's near them. So let's have a quick look as to what they do. So when I'm looking at the basal nuclei, the caudate nuclei is one of them, and it's a C-shaped ring of gray matter. And now let's take a second. It is lateral to the lateral ventricle in each hemisphere. And it has an anteriorly oriented tail. Now, you really have to spend some time looking at the diagrams in your book, and also I did post 2 videos on 3D anatomy of the brain. They actually do a great job of showing you the relationship in 3 dimensions, and do make sure you watch that video and you get a really good understanding of their location to each other. Okay, so the putamen is the other one. It's posterior and inferior to the caudate nucleus. And it's connected to the caudate nucleus by these little bridges of gray matter. Now, often the putamen and the caudate, so both of these, because they're involved in some of the same things, they functionally are often called the corpus striatum. So the caudate nuclei, putamen, collectively can be called the corpus striatum. And then we have a third part, which is the globus pallidus, which is medial. And it contains more myelinated fibers in the other regions. You can see a picture here, a diagram. Now, once again, make sure you look at that 3-dimensional video presentation where they walk you through it, because you can really get a better sense. But here we can see that the structures are deep within the brain. They're really located deep within there. And you can see here's one view of the globus pallidus right there, and the corpus striatum, which is, of course, is the caudate nucleus and the putamen. You can see the caudate nucleus up here. You can see the putamen down here. And you can see that there's little interconnecting bridges between them. Okay, we're just going to make this a short little video. I just wanted to introduce the anatomy and the terms, but really to get the most out of understand the basal nuclei and their anatomical orientation to each other is, once again, check out those videos and have a look in your textbook.